survey out today shows that nearly 90% of people plan to keep working after they hit retirement age, mainly because they haven't been able to save enough money. You know how hard it is to save for the future when life is so tough at the moment. The survey also finding that 39% of people don't have a retirement plan in place at all, which means that when they retire, they'll have to live on support from government or their family or from selling their home. Samukelo Zwane is the product head for F&B Wealth and Investment. Samukelo, good afternoon to you. These are pretty frightening figures. Why are we not planning for our retirements?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers as well. Very, very alarming picture indeed. I agree with you. And basically, it's reinforcing what we've known all along, that we do not actually have a proper savings culture in South Africa. But what we've done is to try and understand it from the banking client perspective and understand the different income segments and across all this age group. And it was quite alarming to actually see that about 8 out of 10, South Africans, are actually contemplating on actually working when they actually get to retirement age, so that they can supplement, the income that they earn, since their retirement savings are not enough. But it's also talking to the culture around retirement. So people do not view retirement as something that happens where they stop being economically active and then they actually rely on a pension. It shows that people are actually thinking about retirement as a partial event. When they get to retirement, they probably reduce, the number of hours they work, but they still, economically active in that regard. And that's why we're seeing that stat, which actually is quite high. And what we also unpacked, as we actually split our survey between the pre-retirement and post-retirement. So when we looked at the pre-retirement, we saw that 74% of people have retirement strategies in place. However, they are not confident about their strategies, which talks to the ability of education as well as having, enough nudges for people to actually start understanding what this retirement product is about. So there's more that these financial institutions can do to help people in that regard. So only 26% say they do not have a retirement plan, and they attribute this to a number of things. First, you saw a lot of people are actually procrastinating. About 9% of these 26% of people are actually procrastinating and actually saying, listen, I'll start saving for retirement later. And when you look at the numbers, they're pretty alarming. When you look at the 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds, that cohort, on average believes that they should start saving for retirement at age 31. And it was quite even alarming when you look at it in the older ages, 55 to 60. On average, they believe maybe at 59, that's where you should start saving. And I must remind you once again, they were talking about, those who actually have not been saving. But on average, when you look at everybody in the cohort, both from the lower income segments to the upper income segments, we can see that on average they start saving above age 30, which is basically concerning, and that, that actually does not leave you enough time to actually benefit from the power of compounding, so that at least by the time you get to retirement, you have actually accumulated enough for you to actually retire comfortably.
Samukelo, there's so many things to it. At the moment in particular, are you seeing people are saving less simply because they're battling to get through the month? Samukelo, I don't know if you're able to hear me.
Yes, people are battling to save. That's why I lost you.
All right, so my question was, are you finding that people are now saving less? There's been a change in retirement savings behavior over the last 3 years because people are battling just to get through the month at the moment, so they're saving less than they did 5 years ago.
Quite interesting, when we were looking at the survey and actually unpacking the results, we were actually studying in terms of how much of the salary goes to these different buckets, like groceries, and how much goes into transportation, food, accommodation, which are your basic, goods and services that you need for you to actually survive on a day-to-day basis. And that actually showed something alarming. When you look at the guys on the lower segment, they are only left with about 7% of their income that they can direct to retirement savings. So it means, their basic needs are consuming a lot in terms of their income. And as much as 14% for the guys in the upper segment is available for retirement savings, which is also not sufficient, given the fact that, you get a tax deduction of up to 27.5%. So this means that a very small percentage of people's income goes towards retirement saving. So they are squeezed in that regard. So things such as, enabling people and allowing them and doing, a budget, tools to help them with budget, that actually helps a lot. Then the other aspect that we unpacked is that the retirement conversation is not just a conversation around the product itself. It's a holistic conversation around integrated advice. So what does that mean? It means that when we talk to people around retirement, we should talk about how much debt do they have, how much liquidity do they have on the side so that they can cover themselves in case of emergency, how much risk are they actually saving for in terms of their risk benefit, life insurance and all that before we even talk about retirement. So it's a holistic conversation which then allows you to have a healthy, engagement with your long-term savings. So in a nutshell, we don't see a lot of money going towards retirement savings, and it's because of, the help that people need towards budgeting as well as structuring, their financial planning, whereby, you start off with having liquidity to cater for your emergency instead of actually tapping into your retirement savings. So that's quite important, and that's what we pack, especially in the pre-retirement space. And when you look at the post-retirement, the perception that people actually want to actually continue working in retirement, it's actually playing out with those in retirement. We realize that people on average, retire at age 59. However, that's just a small proportion of people who fully retire.
Samukelo Zwane, I'm so sorry you're making important points. We are going to have to leave it there. I do appreciate the time. Product Kit for F&B Wealth and Investment.